Deuteronomy 1:8 states, "Look, I have set the land before you. Go in and take possession of the land which the Lord swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give to them and their descendants after them." Today, I want to encourage you to never forget the visions and dreams God has laid on your heart. During my prayer time, I sense some of you want or even need a godly shift in your life, that you need a push, some form of encouragement, courage, a friendly reminder to never give up, or that you are worthy of a fresh start. You want Him, you need Him. He is here and listening. Where fear of the unknown no longer has a hold on you, that you can receive wisdom and guidance concerning your life. There's a verse that says, "We have not because we ask not." And another verse states that if we knock on the door of God's heart, He will answer. He will not leave you hanging or guessing. He hears you, sees you, and knows you intimately. After all, He is the one that created you and allowed you to be born on a specific day and time, because your life is for a reason. God is one of intention, where nothing in life happens, on the whim or by chance. The world, may think of it like that, but with God, there's always a reason. In the Bible, a man by the name of Joshua entered a season of his life that he never would have imagined. There was fear, insecurities, doubt, and a host of other emotions, flooded his mind at God's next command in Joshua 1 and verse 2. Joshua was chosen to lead the Israelites into the promised land after, a great loss in his life. We've all, went through a loss, whether it was financial or we face a loss in some time in our life. But with Joshua, in this same chapter, we see him stepping up to the plate. He's also losing something. Prior to Moses' passing, the Lord said that, "I want you to go and take possession of this land, which I promised to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, because I've given it to them and their descendants." However, later in Deuteronomy, in chapter 34, in verse 4, the Lord again says, "Moses, this is the land which I swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and I will give it to your descendants. I have let you see it with your eyes, but you shall not go over there." So there's a lot to unpack between chapters 1 and 34, and I'm not going to go into it, but there was a lot of disobedience, there was a lot of doubt, a lack of trust, and just other unnecessary delays, like a 40-day journey turning into 40 years entering to the promised land. Have you ever worked on a project or been in a relationship that was longer than anticipated and you didn't get the result that you wanted? What did you do after that? Did you just say, lesson learned, and I will never allow that to happen again? Or did you go through a transition? Did you let some things go? And I hope you move forward. And after that experience, you knew your next, whatever that was, it had to be handled differently going forward. There's a scripture in the New Testament that states you cannot pour new wine into old wineskins, because the old will not be able to handle the new. This is what happened between Deuteronomy 34 and Joshua 1, where things of the old would not be able to handle this new thing. What old habits, behaviors, thoughts, or even people from your past that you need to let go? Joshua 1:9 states, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be trembled or be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." God encouraged Joshua several times before he was about to step into his new. He heard about the promised land from his father, but he is now the one to experience it. Joshua was nervous, and I would be too. I would feel weak just like him, or probably insecure and confused and concerned, about carrying and leading these Israelites, leading these people. But why would God repeatedly say to Joshua, "Be strong and courageous, be strong and courageous"? He was probably like, "God, I trust you, but are you sure about this?" Joshua probably faced so many things. And he's heard about this great promise, and we've heard about these great things. But it's like there's this Moses' tendency inside of us to not experience a fullness of something, the fullness of that promise, the fullness of that job, or the fullness of that relationship, or whatever it is. But God is a promise keeper. God is a promise keeper. Joshua and the Israelites probably thought, if Moses died, so did their promise, but God is a promise keeper. Some things needed to die, like old habits and doubt and insecurities and disobedience. We all need to let go of something and move forward in our faith. Just because one door closed doesn't mean that our dream or our vision won't come to pass. We just have to wait for another door to open. I know some of the Israelites, they thought that door was closed. They were like, Moses is dead. We ain't gonna see the promised land. Like, what are we gonna do now? But God had someone else in mind to carry out that vision. He had Joshua. Or maybe he's telling you to let go, to forgive, obey him, trust him again, or even change your lifestyle. Because how you currently live will not sustain you in the place where he wants to take you. There is always better with God, a better life, to love better, live better, be better. So as you take these next steps into whatever your new is, if that's a job, a business, marriage, starting a family, self-care, going back to school, or even, the dating scene, to be strong and courageous. As you embrace this new thing, know that God sees you, hears you, and loves you. Let the past be the past. Be strong and courageous. Be encouraged.